Welcome to the Tribe of the Restored Warrior podcast, where coming home changed doesn't mean you're broke.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Tribe of the Restored Warrior. I'm Justin, your host, and I'm joined by Dr. Ben Iobst and Staff Sergeant Brett Keys, who's a current EMT and on recruiting duty with the United States Army. And welcome, Brett.
Appreciate you having me on, Justin.
Yeah, welcome, Brett. So one thing that we talked a little bit before this, and it sounds like, you're getting towards the end of your military career. You're at 11 Bravo that's in recruiting detail now. And can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing to prepare yourself and your life, your support structures for transitioning out of the military and into a civilian life in a healthy way?
Yeah, for sure. So some of the things that I'm doing are, when I first got up to recruiting detail, I was kind of concerned about like the idle time that I had on my hands, right? Because like we said earlier, right, that idle time will get you going. So I started going out and I was going around to the local fire departments and just to see if I could volunteer. And the one fire department I went to, they wanted nothing to do with me, solely off of just like my appearance in uniform. So they suggested me to go up to this place that taught EMT training. And I kind of like blew it off at first. And I was like, well, this might be something that I can go through with and maybe turn it into like a volunteering thing while I'm up here. And so anyway, I ended up stopping by. And when I got there, immediately was like welcomed and absorbed the environment that I was in. So I signed up for the class. The next month we got rolling. I made it through EMT school. But the thing that really got me like hooked on being an EMT was that when I went on my first ride along, there was nothing traumatic or like any kind of huge medical necessities, but just seeing like the difference of being a first responder and coming from the military side, I definitely provided that purpose that I wanted. So I continued on with that. I went and got my national registry for emergency medical technician. And then from there, I started to, I am currently studying for the paramedic program that they offer. I have to have around 2 years experience before I can enroll into it. But I'm also, trying to prepare mentally because like you said, it is a big step getting out of the Army, especially coming out at 10 years. It's kind of that halfway make or break point. So I'm just trying to mentally prepare by keeping good like coping skills and, keeping myself busy. As far as like, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu after work. I'll pick up EMT shifts whenever possible. And then I'm also like setting my horizons on becoming like a law enforcement officer, whether it's in the local community or state police, whatever it is. But I'm just trying to keep myself physically and mentally ready and being able to, move on to the next goal and, the next chapter of our lives, essentially. So.
Excellent. Yeah, that's something that we see helping a lot of people that transition out of the military or first responders that retire or transition out of that career is getting into the next healthy thing, keeping that purpose going. With our population, not having purpose can be very, very dangerous, as you talked about. What are some things you do to keep yourself mentally healthy and also healthy within the social circles that you spend time in, staying around positive people and things like that?
Right. So some of the things I do for my mental well-being is I mainly just focus on my family life, right? And I know that's kind of dangerous because, if you have a bad family life or bad home life, then it could really take effects on your mental health. But me and my wife have been married for 12 going on 13 years. And every day it just seems like we're learning more and more about each other. So it keeps me busy enough at home where I can still focus on her, our 4 beautiful, amazing kids, and, just kind of taking it a day at a time and realizing like all those years in the military that I was very neglectful towards her. So keeping a healthy marriage is really like my strong foundation for being able to move forward mentally, because without her support and her like keeping me grounded and making sure I'm not out here running amok, she's really helping me like just keep that mental aspect focused. But as far as like the social life, I really don't have much of a social life, to be honest with you. I talk to some of the guys at work. I come home, go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then come back home. That's really about it. But it was nice reconnecting with Justin and him telling me about, the groups that you guys are running, and especially this podcast. So I plan on moving forward with, with you guys and Justin to be able to help out with the community. And not only that, but like be able to help myself finally.
Excellent. Yeah, that's very, very important. And you hit the nail on the head with that. Investment in our families is so, so important. And then also that investment in ourselves by finding healthy people to be around. And it sounds like you're taking those steps to find them, in the community that you live in. And that's essential. That's essential. Justin, you have anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Brett, I've known you for a couple of years, and I remember seeing you off when you enlisted in the Army. What are some maybe wellness things you've picked up along the way, maybe that you didn't have before that you do now from your experience from being in the military, now being an EMT, and being a Army recruiter?
So some of the experiences, right? The military, I remember you distinctively saying when I was going to enlist that, hey, it's not going to be exactly what you think it is, right? And I kept saying to myself, I hope he's wrong. I hope he's wrong. So when I got in, initially, it was everything that I thought it was going to be, but getting onto the line and seeing the brotherhood and camaraderie out of everything else was like the main focus for me, is being able to, go to my brother or sister and be like, hey, this is what's going on with me. And they either, tell me to suck it up, or, hey, it's a real life problem. Let's talk about this. Right. But those are lifelong friends that I still have. I still talk to them daily. And really some of the things that we've either been through or saw together in the military have just been what has able to keep us together in such a close friendship. Like I have friends that live in California that I served with, and they've gotten out, but we still talk to each other every day. But going back to to some of the activities and things that I do, I make sure that my physical training is up there, right? Because when you're physically training, you're out of your head, you're out of your element, like you're just in your zone and working on bettering yourself, and in turn in your mind it makes you feel better. So what was the second part of that question?
I think pretty much answered it.
Okay.
What is one thing you would tell your younger self?
In general, or just about
the path you're going to take? You're a first responder. You're going to eventually transition out of the military and join the Civ Div, or the civilian division. And what is one thing you tell your younger self?
Don't be so quick to give up on yourself. When I first, before I even joined the military, I was so quick to give up on myself and just drop the situation in its entirety. So when I got into the military, like I was trying to do those same things. Like I went through expert infantryman badge training, right? And I was a brand new private, and I remember being there with my squad leader, and he's going over like these tasks with me, and I have no clue what he's talking about. And I'm just trying to be this good private, yes, Sergeant, I understand, Sergeant, And at the end of the day, like I didn't care about it, I didn't care enough to try for my own personal gain. So if there was one thing I had to tell myself, was just don't give up, quit looking for the easy path, and just, take the hard stuff with a grain of salt, move through it, and let it make you a better person. So
excellent. Well, I think this has been an awesome interview, and the things I'm hearing from you, investing in your personal life, in your family, having a plan to keep purpose, staying with that healthy fraternity, whether it be other veterans, whether it be first responders. It seems, from what you've explained to us, that you get a lot of that same healthy fraternity in both different groups, which is honestly why we combine first responders and veterans and active duty military in a lot of the work that we do, because there's so much commonality. I really happy to have you on, and looking forward to doing some work with you in the future. Justin?
Awesome. Thanks, Brett, for coming on and being transparent with us. And thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of the Tribe of the Restored Warrior. Tribe of the Restored Warrior works in collaboration, contributes to Vets and Badges, where real-life heroes share their trials and tribulations. Please check out www.vetsandbadges.com for more information.